What is up, guys? It's your boy James Eeks, and today I am bringing you my Puerto Rico special event championship team breakdown. Yes, this weekend I traveled over to Puerto Rico with my good friend Mike, and we played in the Puerto Rico special event, which, if you guys don't know what a special event is, it gives the same amount of championship points as a regional, but the entry fee is a lot lower and you don't get as many prizes. It's pretty much like a less financially supported regional, so it was really cool. I had a whole lot of fun, and this was technically the first ever season 3 major event, you could say. So it was really cool to take the W on that and come home with 200 championship points, which was absolutely insane. You know, special events are a little bit imbalanced in terms of how many points they get, but don't hate the player, hate the game. I'm not gonna defend the championship point system, but that's how it goes. And guys, in this video, I'm gonna be going over my team. I'm gonna be going over why I decided to use it, what matchups I felt were really strong, what matchups I felt were kind of poor, and just overall my whole experience with the team, my rounds, and everything like that. So stay tuned. This is gonna be a great, very informative video. And guys, I do urge you, if you do want to check me out on Twitch, I would appreciate that a lot. I stream 5 days a week, Pokemon content, guides, battles, fun, all that kind of stuff. We have a great community over there, so I would appreciate it if you guys came and checked me out. But yeah, let's throw it over to the rental code. Alrighty guys, here is the team in question, the champion winning team, and it does look pretty standard at a glance, but I did have a lot of tricks and I made a lot of different decisions with the team, so we'll be going over those. The biggest threats that I knew I needed to prepare for this event were Gmax Charizard stuff with, you know, Whimsicott or Venusaur. I definitely needed to be prepared for Tyranitar, Excadrill, Mirrors. I knew that T-Tar and Excadrill were going to be a very, very common core going into this. I think they're really good against the new Pokemon. And, of course, Lapras. You know, Gmax Lapras with the Aurora Veil, holding a weakness policy, that kind of stuff. I knew I needed to be prepared for that. And then since I was deciding to use Tyranitar Excadrill, I knew I needed to be prepared for opposing Conkeldurr. And guys, just as a disclaimer, you know, this tournament was really hard to practice for. We didn't have a ladder on Showdown or in the game. And especially since this event was on March 1st, the only way to practice was when Pokemon Showdown tournament, when the Pokemon Showdown VGC room held a tournament for it, or just battling with your friends on the cartridge. So this is a totally new format. There's lots of things that are going to change. So this team is definitely not perfect in any way. It was on March 1st. You know, meta doesn't get fleshed out that fast. But yeah, this is the team I went with, and let's start breaking down the sets. So going into this event, I knew that I wanted to choose a comfort pick, you know, because practicing for it was pretty hard, and I wanted to make sure I don't go with anything I didn't really know how to use and, you know, make a lot of misplays. So I knew I wanted to use Tyranitar, Excadrill, Togekiss. That's what I've been using a lot this season to my success, so I definitely knew I wanted to use that. But the Tyranitar, Togekiss, Excadrills that I've been using were Assault Vest Tyranitar, Life Orb Excadrill, and Babiri Berry Togekiss. So with those three, you could definitely tell that it was a more Excadrill-centric strategy. Life Orb Excadrill was the one that was really pumping out the damage. Tyranitar with Assault Vest, you know, does good damage, but it's not going to be just wiping through teams like a weakness policy would. And then Togekiss was Babiri Berry, more defensive, not going to be wiping through teams, kind of like a Scope 1's Togekiss was. Though I did need to, you know, shake up my playstyle, but it still was something I was more comfortable with. And while I do think Assault Vest Tyranitar is amazing, like, I really like it, it's really good, but I think it is pretty weak in the Tyranitar Excadrill mirror, and like I said, I wanted to be really prepared for that. So I got my notes right over here, so pay it no mind. I'm gonna have to scroll down here, but so I went with a very bulky Tyranitar with weakness policy. This is the spread I use on my Assault Vest Tyranitar. It was just easiest for me to get it in game, but I think it's really good. I was really used to the defensive calcs of this defense. I know what I can survive, I know what I can't, and I've still got a good amount of attack and a little bit of speed to outspeed the slower Tyranitars, so I really did enjoy this. While it is a pretty standard Tyranitar, I did think it was really good. I knew that through the support of Incineroar with Intimidate and my Incineroar having Snarl, I could really get opponents to get antsy and feel like they need to hit Tyranitar before they get totally bodied. So I knew that people would get antsy and activate the weakness policy for me. And a really big thing about Weakness Policy Tyranitar right now, guys, is that Will-O-Wisp is at an all-time low. Arcanine is kind of in the shadow of Incineroar right now. While I think Arcanine is still very good, people, are kind of blindsided and think Incineroar is really good, and they want to use the new Pokemon, and so Incineroar almost never runs Will-O-Wisp. So I knew Tyranitar wasn't going to be threatened by getting Will-O-Wisp by Arcanines, and people have been running Nasty Plot Rotom super commonly, so I knew that another common Will-O-Wisper was not in the meta. So I knew Tyranitar was primarily going to be tried to stop through Intimidate, but that's what Weakness Policy is good for. So this Tyranitar did a lot of work for me, and it was great. Let's move over to Excadrill. I went with a very simple Focus Sash Excadrill. I honestly think Focus Sash Excadrill is the best Excadrill in the mirror match against opposing T-Tar Exca, and that was something I really wanted to be prepared for. I knew that Tyranitar Exca was going to be very popular at this tournament, and I think Focus Sash is the best in the mirror. So pretty normal. Focus Sash gives you bulk in a way. You can't die in one hit, so that's infinitely more bulky than dying in one hit. And then I was just max speed Jolly. It helps me at least speed tie with other Excadrill. And the weird thing that you guys might notice here is that I am running Mold Breaker Excadrill with my Sandstream Tyranitar. So honestly, I think Sandrush is a lot better in the mirror, but I have Focus Sash, which is great in the mirror, and I felt that this team, without Assault Vest on Tyranitar, without Berry on Togekiss, I felt like I was really, really weak to Rotom forms, and that was something I really did not want to be weak to. I think Mold Breaker really helps against, of course it helps against Rotom Wash, Rotom Heat. You get to hit it with super effective ground moves, and then even against Rotom Cut, your best option before would be Rock Slide, but now I can hit it with Max Quake or High Horsepower. So I really wanted Mold Breaker so that I had a good matchup against Rotom. It helped out the Rotom form matchup tremendously, and that's what it was made to do. So I really, really, really did like it. Especially with my Scope Lens Togekiss, a really offensive Togekiss, I knew that I could boost up my Excadrill's speed with Max Airstream, kind of, try to keep up with those Sandrush Excadrills. And then another thing about this was how I mentioned I had to kind of shake up my playstyle. I was really used to Life Orb Excadrill. That's what I was using the whole season pretty much. So it was a bit different having to get used to the calculations of not having Life Orb, but I knew it was necessary. I knew that Focus Sash Excadrill was going to be the best call for this tournament, and I'm really glad I did. Because this team kind of turned more into a Togekiss-centric playstyle, whereas before it was an Excadrill-centric playstyle. So let me show you guys why Togekiss was the main man of this tournament. So guys, this Togekiss was definitely the star of the show. A pretty standard move set, but I am running Follow Me as my fourth attack. Sometimes on Scope Lens Togekiss, you'll see Protect down there, normally just because you are more offensive, but I really felt I needed the option to have Follow Me and Jellicent for the Trick Room. We'll get into Jellicent and Conkeldurr in just a bit, but that's why I ran Follow Me, was to help facilitate Jellicent's Trick Room. But yeah, guys, if you guys take a look at the spread, you will see that this Togekiss is very, very fast and very, very strong. This Togekiss hit insanely hard, and I outsped every single Togekiss I played against at the Puerto Rico special event, and I outsped every single Rotom form that I played with this Togekiss. So this super fast, super strong Togekiss was insane. I was just max airstreaming, max star falling with insane power and insane speed. So this was definitely a more Togekiss-centric team, trying to support Togekiss and having Togekiss sweep. So it's pretty standard here, but yeah, this Togekiss was super fast and the speed was absolutely amazing. So let's get into Incineroar. So I haven't really used Arcanine very much this season, and I used Incineroar a lot in the past, so I definitely felt more comfortable with Incineroar now that he's in the meta. So I definitely knew that I could use him to his fullest potential. And so Incineroar, guys, is obviously amazing because you've got Fake Out and Intimidate on the same Pokemon, which is amazing, but then you also have the option of being U-Turn or Parting Shot, something that Hitmontop or Scrafty doesn't have. That's pretty much the short answer as to why Incineroar is so good, but it is amazing in many, many ways. The first thing you guys might notice is that I am running U-Turn over Parting Shot. Parting Shot's kind of the new flavor of the month. It's the new move. Everyone just really, really wants to use it, and guys, I honestly do think Parting Shot is a great move, but I loved having U-Turn because of the chip damage. How you win the game in Pokemon is reducing all of your enemy Pokemon's health to 0, and every little bit of damage you can get helps you obviously win the game. And U-turn doing good chip damage was really, really helpful. And another thing that I want to show you guys right now is my Incineroar hit a speed of 86 and my Tyranitar hit a speed of 85. And if you guys see where this is going, I could actually U-turn my own Tyranitar to activate the weakness policy and get switch momentum at the exact same time, you know, switching out my Intimidate Fake Out while activating my weakness policy. I did that a few times during this very tournament and it was absolutely amazing. So that's why I was running U-turn. I thought it was really good. And since I decided to run U-turn, which is a damaging switch out move, instead of Parting Shot, which didn't do any damage, that's why I opted to go with Snarl instead of Throat Chop or Darkest Lariat, something like that. So I still had an option to lower the enemy's special attack if I could. And I just felt that the Pokemon that I really wanted to hit with Darkest Lariat or Throat Chop, I wasn't really going to be facing off against a lot. I really didn't think Dragapult was going to want to come against Tyranitar, Togekiss, and Incineroar. I think those really scared off Dragapult, but even if I didn't play against Dragapult, I still had a good matchup against it. Togekiss, Tyranitar, and then my Conkeldurr has Ice Punch, which we'll get into. But yeah, that's why I kind of didn't choose to run a Dark move. I didn't think Dragapult was going to be a very big problem. And so the next thing you'll notice about Incineroar, guys, is that mine is quite a physically bulky Incineroar. This Incineroar can survive Jolly, Life Orb, yes, that's the important part, Max Quake from Excadrill at -1 attack, and then I'll get my berry back up. The reason I decided this was at like 2 a.m. the night before the tournament when I was trying to figure out my team. I died to an Excadrill's Max Quake, you know, showdown tournament. And I just thought, man, like I really don't want that to ever happen. And I was already EV'd to survive like Focus Sash, you know, not Life Orb. But I decided to go with this. And to be honest, guys, I don't really recommend this. I think that you should just be willing to take the L to the Life Orb Excadrill. You know, it's not super common anymore. And put a lot more bulk into special defense. My Incineroar didn't take special attacks really well during this tournament. It died to some things that really did surprise me. So I think in hindsight, guys, I would maybe run this set or something similar to it with an Assault Vest, seeing as I am running 4 attacks, or run a much specially bulkier one with the Pinch Berry as well. So while Incineroar was amazing, he did his job, he's an amazing Pokemon, I do think the EV spread was a bit odd. So I do recommend using a different Incineroar spread, but this is the one I used, so here you go. And so I finally patched things up in my team with the Conkeldurr Jellicent core, you know, very common right now, because I did decide to go with Mold Breaker Excadrill, which I think did make me weaker in the mirror, and I've said it a lot of times, but I knew that Tyranitar Excadrill was going to be very, very popular here. So I wanted Tyranitar and Excadrill's worst nightmare, Conkeldurr, on the team. So for this EV spread, guys, this is just Aaron Traylor's Dallas winning a Conkeldurr spread. There's actually nothing changed. I put Ice Punch instead of Rock Slide on there, which was for Dragapult and Togekiss. I wanted something 100% accurate, and if someone did play a Dragapult really, really well, it could give me some trouble, you know, if I played haphazardly with Tyranitar, Togekiss, or something like that. So I wanted Ice Punch as a little bit of insurance. And so yeah, this Conkeldurr is pretty standard. I really, really loved close combat. You know, a lot of people, when they were looking at Aaron's team, they might have thought, you know, oh, well, Drain Punch and Mach Punch is enough. You know, I want to do Thunder Punch and Ice Punch. You know, I want to have Rock Slide, Ice Punch. But close combat was super, super clutch. This was my first time using it, and having that huge burst of damage available is awesome. So I definitely loved it. And then, guys, for Jellicent, this is also very similar to Aaron Traylor's spread, but I actually took some EVs out of defense with the main HP to make me more overall bulky, you know, more specially bulky. Just because the calculations that he was running for his team, he didn't have Intimidate on his team, and I knew that I had Incineroar. So I knew that I didn't need to be as physically bulky as he was. So it's a pretty standard set. Jellicent really, really helped against Trick Room teams, you know, countering Trick Room, Strength Sapping, Rhyperior, setting up Trick Room for Conkeldurr against certain teams, absolutely amazing. So Jellicent Conkeldurr is a great, great core, and obviously Conkeldurr is amazing against T-Tar Excadrill. It's really good against Lapras, which I was prepared to face. It's really good against Incineroar as well. Conkeldurr is good against Hard Trick Room. Conkeldurr is so good right now. You guys already know. It's won a lot of big events. So yeah, I definitely wanted Conkeldurr, and these two did amazing work. So now that you guys have seen the team, I kind of consciously chose to be weak to the Venusaur Sleep Powder that everyone was, really excited about. You can see I don't have a Lumberry, I don't have Safety Goggles, but I did have options to deal with it. I actually had a game plan. Maybe I didn't have the best tools ever, but I had a good game plan. So I will talk about that right now in our little basic matchups guide. So let's get into that. But guys, for this little basic matchup guide I'm going to be giving you guys right now, I'm going to be telling you guys which Pokemon on my team I think is the key Pokemon for beating this certain matchup. So let's start out with Tyranitar Excadrill. That's me facing off against opposing Tyranitar Excadrill teams. And obviously, I gotta say the key Pokemon is Conkeldurr. You want to aim to put pressure and take out all the Pokemon that really do threaten Conkeldurr, such as Togekiss on the other team. You really want to pin Togekiss into bad positions and get it off the field as soon as possible to help out your Conkeldurr, which is going to be in the back, and you're going to be able to just sweep with Conkeldurr. I think my bulky weakness policy Tyranitar is also really, really good against Tyranitar Excadrill. You intimidate the stuff, you get Incineroar into a good position, or Togekiss into a position to defend my Tyranitar, and they're eventually gonna hit Tyranitar with the ground move or something, and Tyranitar will be there ready to mess them up. So I'd say the key Pokemon is Conkeldurr, but Tyranitar is also very important, and Intimidate, shuffling with your own Incineroar or Arcanine or whoever, is really, really important against T-Star Excadrill. So that was the key Pokemon for that matchup. Next up is Charizard, Whimsicott, Venusaur kind of teams, and I gotta say the key Pokemon for that matchup are Tyranitar and Togekiss. Because you can lead Togekiss, Incineroar into Venusaur type leads. You can fake out Incineroar. Let me move over to Togekiss. You can fake out the Venusaur while max airstreaming the Venusaur, breaking its sash, even if it does protect, or you just kill it. And then the next turn, let's say they Sunny Day or something like that with their Whimsicott. Well, the next turn you can switch in Tyranitar for the Incineroar slot, getting rid of the Sun boost they put up turn 1, resetting the weather, and then you'll be faster because you're +1 speed, and then you take out the Venusaur. And of course, he has to hit all the Sleep Powders anyway. So that was one of the strategies. And then the other one was around Tyranitar, where if they were leading Charizard stuff, I would just always lead Tyranitar turn 1 and kind of just Dynamax it and try to really break through the team, because even Charizard with a Sunny Day boost, Solar Power, it can't take out a Dynamax Tyranitar, and it'll just get killed right back with Max Rock Ball. So those are definitely the key Pokemon for Charizard, Whimsicott, Venusaur matchups. I really think a well-played Tyranitar Excadrill core into the Charizard teams is very, very hard for them to beat if they don't have Conkeldurr. But that just makes Togekiss even more important. So key Pokemon for Charizard, Venusaur matchups are Tyranitar and Togekiss. Next up are Lapras teams, and the key Pokemon for Lapras teams are going to be Weakness Policy, Tyranitar, and Conkeldurr. Lapras teams honestly have a lot of fighting weaknesses. I've seen them run Lapras and Incineroar, of course, both weak to fighting and both weak to rock. And then I've seen them run Duraludon, stuff like that. So I know that Tyranitar and Incineroar are extremely good against that matchup. I can activate my weakness policy with Incineroar onto Tyranitar if necessary, and just honestly, if they don't intimidate you, you can one-shot a Lapras with the Max Rockfall. But I just always assume that my Tyranitar is going to be at least -1 against Lapras, which is safe because they're definitely going to have Intimidate. And then Conkeldurr is amazing too. You can get up the Max Knuckles, Drain Punch late game, all that kind of stuff. So it's really good. And then on Incineroar also has Snarl, so I can also start snarling down the Lapras if necessary. So while they are going to be really bulky and they're going to be hitting relatively hard when they, inevitably try to proc their own weakness policy, Incineroar, Snarl, Tyranitar's Super Bulk, and Conkeldurr's Assault Vest really can help you break through the Lapras teams and kind of go toe-to-toe with the bulk with them. So key Pokemon for Lapras teams are Tyranitar and Conkeldurr. And of course, since I'm running a Tyranitar Excadrill of my own, I needed to be prepared for opposing Conkeldurrs, and obviously Togekiss is the key to playing against Conkeldurrs. When there's a Conkeldurr on the other team, you really need to protect your Togekiss. Maybe you might even need to play it as like a late game Togekiss, have it in the back. Don't really treat it as a supporter. It's going to be your sweeper. You really need to play smart with Togekiss against opposing Conkeldurrs, because if you don't, your Tyranitar and Excadrill are honestly going to get taken off the field sooner than you want. So Togekiss is definitely the key against Conkeldurr. And Incineroar is going to help you a lot too, you know, intimidating Conkeldurr. If you feel like you can weave Incineroar in without taking a big fighting move, you know, getting that -1 on a Conkeldurr is going to be really important. And then your Conkeldurr of your own can go toe-to-toe with opposing Conkeldurrs, you know, drain punching each other, all that kind of stuff. But in that kind of matchup, it's going to come down to maybe some crits or whichever Conkeldurr's faster, that kind of stuff. So if you don't want to deal with that, you're just going to want to protect your Togekiss as good as you possibly can against Conkeldurr. And last but not least, guys, I wanted to be prepared against Rotom. So this is about the Rotom matchup. Now, Excadrill is super good against Rotom Wash and Rotom Heat for obvious reasons. You're super effective with your Mold Breaker ground moves and you outspeed them. And then, but guys, against Rotom Mow, Togekiss is going to be the key to that. Excadrill does help a good amount against Rotom Mow, but the real big key Pokemon against Rotom Mow is Togekiss. The fact that Rotom Mow takes neutral damage from Togekiss's max airstream is huge. That's what you really need to abuse against Rotom Mow, is the fact that you can hit him extremely hard with Togekiss. And with this offensive Togekiss being so fast, so strong, that's really how I punched holes through these Rotom Mows that I played against. And yeah, so you're going to be wanting to use Excadrill really well against Rotom Wash and Heat, you know, gonna hit them with the max Quakes, and as long as you hit high horsepower, you're gonna be totally fine. I actually just realized this says Earthquake on the showdown thing, but I did use high horsepower, so let me change that. But guys, now let's do a little bit of a war story of the event. I'll talk about the people I faced and the teams I faced. You can see them right in front of you, except the top team is the one I used. But yeah, you guys are gonna start to see all the things that I talked about really came together in this tournament. So round 1, I was against Sohaib Mufti. He's from the New York area, and he was a super cool guy. We actually had a great time, so he's my homie now. He's really cool. But so we played in round 1, and this was the team he used right here. And to be honest, it's a very common team. We actually shared 5 of the same Mons, and I lost 0-2 to him in round 1. And to be honest, I just didn't realize how important Togekiss and Conkeldurr were really going to be. Obviously, I was trying to play for Conkeldurr, but I realized that Togekiss was going to be really good because he was kind of slapping me around with Rotom Mow, and I knew that I was faster, stronger with my Togekiss, so I knew I could abuse that. So when we played later on in the tournament, I switched to a more Togekiss-centric strategy instead of Conkeldurr, and it actually worked out great. So unfortunately, I did go down 0-2. I started the tournament 0-1, and I did get my revenge against Sohaib, but that was the round 1, and I definitely learned a valuable lesson. I knew that I needed to play Togekiss better. And then round 2, guys, I played against Mike, my roommate, homie over on Twitch, so that was very unfortunate that we were both playing at 0-1 when we traveled a long way for this event, so it was pretty crappy. But Game 1, I ended up losing. I kind of didn't respect Rotom Wash enough, and he kind of barely clutched it out for him. But Game 2, I got my head together, and I just played Excadrill really well. You know, me being focused as Excadrill, he was actually running a Safety Goggles Excadrill, so he didn't have Sash or Life Orb, so... And then I had Mold Breaker to get through Mimikyu as well, so I knew that my Excadrill was super important. So I just defended Excadrill really well the next 2 games, and Excadrill did it for me against that. And then, so round 3, I played against Jose Mateo, and once again, you guys could see Tyranitar Excadrill for the 3rd match in a row, and Togekiss Incineroar. And then he had the Rotom Cut, and I kind of learned from the match with Sohaib that I really needed to go hard with Togekiss, and that I did, pretty much. You know, like, that round 1 loss honestly helped me win this tournament because of the lessons I learned about how I can play really well with Togekiss and get speed boost onto Conkeldurr. So it was really cool. And so this was a 2-0. This was pretty standard. Once again, I just knew to really use Togekiss, so it went really well. So then I was at 2-1, and then I played against Dylan Bousset. He was actually 1-2 at the time, so I got paired down. So I knew my resistance was not looking too hot, and the pressure was on that I really needed to win every single round of Swiss to go 4-1. Like, I don't think I was gonna make it if I was 3-2. And so Dylan was using a hard Trick Room team, as you guys can see, and I honestly think Tyranitar Jellicent is amazing against hard Trick Room because you can max Darkness and then Water Spout. You can reverse the Trick Room the next turn if they're not in the perfect position to hit Jellicent and knock it out. And honestly, I did lose game 1. I kind of didn't respect the Gothitelle Dusclops lead, the option to excuse me, the option to gravity hypnosis me, and I got Tyranitar put to sleep, and it was still really close, but I ended up losing. And I just knew, like, okay, I'm just gonna Dynamax Tyranitar turn 1, Max Darkness, Dusclops, and Water Spout, because you can't fake out Jellicent, obviously. Sorry, and Shadow Ball. And yep, that worked perfectly. Game 2, and then Game 3, he actually led with Togekiss, Hatterene, and I never revealed Trick Room on Jellicent until this Game 3, so I kind of did the same thing. I wore down Hatterene, and then I just reversed the Trick Room turn 2, and it was pretty much over. But it was pretty much over right there. So that was that round. That was round 4, and so I know I needed to win this next one. I did get paired up, which was scary because my resistance was so bad anyway that even if I lost, I wasn't gonna make it. But I did play against at the moment, the best player in the tournament at 4-0. So that was Jonathan Quinones. Apologies on that pronunciation. But as you guys can see, check it out. Tyranitar, Excadrill, Togekiss, Incineroar, Rotom Cut. And once again, it was a matchup that I knew. I've played it twice today already, and Togekiss really went ham. He led Milotic game 1, and I kind of just ignored it. Like, it was getting coil boost, but Togekiss was just bashing everything, and then eventually Togekiss was just critting it at the end. And then game 2, he didn't bring Milotic at all, and I just think that I had really good tools and really good sets to play against that mirror match. So we did end up winning and going 4-1, making top cut. We were the 4th seed. So we played against the 5th seed, Nelson Rodriguez. As you guys can see, he's using the Australia winning team. He did make a few changes, I heard, and he had like Dazzling Gleam Whimsicott, for example. But honestly, this matchup looks poor on paper, but I was really playing on fire this tournament. I was just playing really well after round 1, and I thought of a game plan once I knew I was playing against him, and I would lead Togekiss Excadrill, and depending on what he would lead, I would decide what game plan I was going to go with, if I Dynamax my Togekiss or if I Dynamax my Excadrill. And it ended up being only 2 games, and Dynamax Excadrill really did some work. You know, he was afraid to fake Tears into Excadrill because of the Follow Me, and then he didn't really even have a super effective move to hit Excadrill with anyway. It would be like a fake Tears Max Whirlwind or Max Steel Spike, and I was just Max Quaking because he led Whimsicott Duraludon both games. And Excadrill just max quaking through his team. He had Rotom Heat in the back game 1 that just died for free to Excadrill, and then he switched it up in game 2, but I still had my Conkeldurr in the back, which was really good against everything except Sylveon, which he didn't end up bringing. And so, yeah, that was the top 8 match, and it went really well for me. And then I played against Sohaib again in top 4 of the tournament. The guy I played in round 1, who I lost to. And I knew that I was playing really well, and I knew that I adapted to know that matchup where I know Togekiss is so important. And honestly, it did go super well. Game 1 was pretty standard with Togekiss Dynamaxing, but then game 2 I actually found a perfect opportunity to Dynamax Conkeldurr, and I just kept max knuckling the slot that wasn't his Dynamax Tyranitar. I got up to a bunch of boosts, and then I just killed Tyranitar at the end. So I played that set really well and used Togekiss. So that was top 4. And then in the finals, I was against Jonathan yet again, but I knew that I could do it. I knew the matchup very well. I played against a lot of that team, like I just said. Starting to sound like a broken record here, but it did go to game 3. He played well. He had Milotic in the back. And kind of after I Dynamaxed Togekiss and, ran out of that Togekiss steam, he coiled up with Milotic and Hypnosised me and kind of stalled out my stuff. So I played it differently in game 3. I really focused down the stuff to force out the Milotic as soon as humanly possible. And yeah, I was just in a great position. I had Tyranitar and Conkeldurr both not asleep, and they clutched it out for me. And so guys, that is how I ended up winning the Puerto Rico special event and getting 200 championship points. It was very cool. It was a really fun tournament, and I gotta say, I did get a bit lucky in matchups as well. I played against, a matchup that you guys just heard me talk about for 20 minutes about how much I prepared to play against Tyranitar Excadrill. So I was lucky in getting those matchups, and I did play really well. So it was a great tournament, and this format is extremely new, guys, so Don't go thinking my team's the ultimate team ever. It's a good team. It's solid, but the meta's only gonna get more different and more different. But it's cool to share with you guys a team that won a really important tournament right at the beginning of the season, and I was really comfortable with this team, and I deduced, in my opinion, that it was the right call for this tournament, and it seems like it was. So I was really excited. So guys, I can't wait to play more Season 3, use more Season 3 teams on stream and make videos for you guys. You know, I want to use a little Ninetales, a little Persian, all that kind of fun stuff. And then my Collinsville Regional Wrap-Up, guys, is coming out this week, so please do stay tuned for that. Season 3 is here. The game's fresh again. It's going to be a lot of fun. So guys, check me out on Twitch. I would love it if you guys came and hung out with me, hung out with the gang. We're a bunch of cool dudes over there, so please do come and hang out with your boy. But that is going to do it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.